Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the IC Old People Podcast. The IC Old People Podcast is an ongoing conversation about aging. I'm your host, Dr. Bruce, and I have been the host of the podcast for over 5 years now. I created the podcast in 2019 to kind of take a look at aging from 60 to 70 because my 60th birthday was coming up. We've gone through that, and it's really something. It's been an amazing journey so far, and certainly one that has been worth talking about a bit. It has been 6 months since my last podcast, so I know I don't have a lot of regular listeners because I just don't put out enough regular content. But it's okay because this is kind of my living biography of my life, especially during these years. I work with older people. I've worked with older people all my life, and now I'm an older person myself. And that is kind of the angle that I took on this whole podcast idea. One of the reasons I'm having a podcast today is June 17th, 2025, is that on June 13th, just earlier in the week, I celebrated 5 years of sobriety. 5 years without a drink, the longest I've ever gone, definitely, except in my youth before I started drinking. But it was certainly a experience for me. This has been quite a journey. It was really underwhelming, this anniversary. It was difficult for me. I had a lot of thoughts about drinking. I thought a lot about alcohol, where I really hadn't in the past so much, but somehow something about this anniversary really brought it all to the forefront for me. So, and as well, because I haven't gone to AA meetings for a couple of years now, I don't really have the support that I had, on past birthdays or past anniversaries of me quitting drinking, my fourth and my third and my second. I had a lot of support from other alcoholics who were in my corner, letting me know. I mean, I did get a nice note from one person, which was very nice, and I really appreciate them. But I felt more alone on this celebration than I have in the past. And that's okay because those are choices that I've made. I realize that I really restrict my social activity. I really restrict the number of people around me. So it doesn't make sense for me to complain about being lonely or being alone because I certainly could have more people in my life if I wanted it. I would just have to open the doors and allow that to happen. But I've become very, very private in the last few years, ever since the age of madness started. And I tend to limit my social circle quite severely. So it was underwhelming, but okay, at the same time, because it isn't about the accolades and it isn't about somebody saying good job. It's about doing the right thing for yourself. And I do believe I did the right thing for myself. I did have a couple of really good conversations with a friend about it, and she asked me, what was it? What was it that actually made you finally quit? And I said, it was just trial and error. It was just over and over. I quit a number of times. I quit 4 or 5 times. When I realized that I was drinking too much, when I realized that my health was in danger, my life was basically in danger, when I realized that, I knew I had to quit. And it took me 5 years of quitting and relapsing, quitting and relapsing. I would go 8 months and then relapse for six. I'd go 8 months and relapse for four. 8 months seems to have been a common number because I hit it 3 times and failed 3 times at that number. But then this one stuck. And, so she said, well, why? Why did this one stick? Why has it been 5 years this time? And I think the real reason was it was AA. It was AA. I went out to Winnipeg and I did the 90 and 90. I did 90 meetings in 90 days. In fact, I did more than 90 meetings because I sometimes went to two meetings. I'd go to a 2 o'clock in the afternoon meeting, then I'd go to an 8 o'clock at night meeting on the same day. So it was more than 90. And I think that's what really did it. It was that constant support, that constant reaffirmation, that constant reminder of what you're doing there and why you're doing it. And it stuck. And when I came back from Winnipeg, I I was a different person. I am still a very, very different person. And I'm proud of what I've done. I'm really proud of myself, and I know other people are as well. Uh, I have grandchildren now that have never seen a drink in my hand, and hopefully never will. That's very, very different than my children. My children saw me a lot with a drink in my hand, with wine at the table, and wine after dinner, and beer on Saturdays outside by the pool. And it was pretty common to have alcohol in my home, but it is not anymore. And I'm not that same person. I was also very much a driver of alcohol. I was the one buying it. I was the one having it. I always had it. It was always there. I was always making it available. My guests would come over. Many people got drunk for the very first time with me because I was such a heavy drinker that they were, even if they were attempting to keep up with me, it wouldn't take very long before they were on their back and wishing that they hadn't never come by. So those days are over now, and I'm so happy about that. But it has been tough. This time it was really something. But I am a different person now. Maybe I think about drinking sometimes. Maybe I think about what life would be like if I was still drinking, but I never take an action step towards it. Never. I just can't. It's not part of me anymore. It's not what I want to do. It's not how I want to spend my time. It's not how I want to be identified. So that's kind of where I am now. 5 years, right on. I deserve it. It's been tough in so many different ways. I've had to show resilience. I've had to suck it up and say I'm sorry a number of times, and I've had to accept my faults, and actually at times I've had to lay those faults right out in front of everybody. And it's just this is the way it is when you want to change your life. You want to change forever. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about was my health in general. I certainly, uh, I'm 65 now. I'll be 66 in November. And when I started this podcast, I didn't wear hearing aids. I wear hearing aids now. My hair is almost pure white now. I have a little bit of dark hair in my beard, but that's about it. Mostly white beard, mostly white hair. I look visibly older. Certainly, I've lost my youthful youthful look, so I'm definitely an older man now, and it's quite obvious. You see the hearing aids and the glasses, and getting out of a chair, uh, getting out of a chair in pain, and oohing and awing in pain as you move about. You've become an old man, and it's unfortunate, but it's what's happened to me. So it was fun. It's been a journey. It's been fun. It's been difficult, and it's been everything in between. I had a lot of fun this spring. In the spring of 2025, I'm a lion, and we put on a variety show every year. And I'm usually in the chorus. For the last 3 years, I've been in the chorus. But this year, I was given a opportunity to do a solo, and they kind of tricked me into it. I would have never volunteered to do this solo, but they tricked me into it, saying they wanted me to do the intro to it. So I said, "Oh, sure, I'll do the intro." And then when I went to do the intro, everyone just stood back and said, "Well, continue." And I had to continue. And, I murdered it that first time. But after much, much practice and really working hard to learn to sing this song and to do this song well, it paid off. I did two performances. I did the Friday, well, we did three performances really. We did the dress rehearsal in front of a small group. Then we did the Friday night performance and the Saturday night performance. The Saturday performance was by far the best. Anyway, what I sang was Mambo Number Five by Lou Bega, and it's a really tough song. It's a rap song with a really catchy chorus. You've all probably heard the chorus, a little bit of Monica in my life, a little bit of Sandra in the sun. That's the chorus. but it's got to be introduced, and there's this long rap that you introduce it. So here I am as a 65-year-old white man, and I'm rapping on stage in front of 500 people for 2 nights. So anyway, I want to see if I can remember it because I've embedded it pretty much in my mind, and I'm going to just do it a cappella here, just the initial rap. Okay, so it kind of goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, everybody in the club, so come on, let's ride to the liquor store around the corner. The boys say they want some gin and juice, but I really don't wanna beer buzz like I had last week. I must stay deep 'cause talk is cheap. I love Angela, Pamela, Sandra, and Rita, and as I continue, you know they're getting sweeter. But what can I do? What can I really do, my lord? To me, flirting is just a sport. Anything fly, it's all good. Let me dump it. Send in the trumpet. And then the chorus starts, and it goes on again. And then there's another little rap, a much shorter one. And then at the end, there's a little tiny one at the end. So I had to sing those 3 parts, and I think it worked out really, really well. I was happy. I had a funny hat on, and I was nervous as all heck. Like you wouldn't believe how nervous I was. Well, the other thing I did, I'd read in this book about being a man and being a man, keeping things to yourself. Stop telling everyone what you're going to do because it just gives people more power over you. They can influence it. And you're also getting this kind of dopamine rush from telling people you're going to do something when really the dopamine rush should be coming from doing the thing. And so I didn't tell anybody, including my wife. So nobody knew. I practiced in solo whenever my wife was at work. I practiced. I practiced in the car. I practiced in the park. She didn't hear this song once until she came on to the Saturday night show. And I'm really glad she came to the Saturday night show because it was the best performance of the 3. And she actually she wasn't surprised by me coming out. She was surprised when she saw it in the program. And her friend she was with pointed it out and said, "Look, Bruce is doing a song here in the second act." And so she was prepared and she recorded it. And but she was very, very surprised, and it was the right way to do it. It was for me. It was very much the right way to do it, and I really enjoyed that. So the only other thing I really had that I would talk about was this terrible concussion I had. When I was on holidays back in February, I had a fall. I got out of bed. We're in the Dominican Republic, and everything is solid granite floors, solid granite cement walls. Everything is solid. It's not wood. Anyway, I got out of bed. I slipped. I either had a cramp in my foot or I slipped. Something happened where my foot turned, and I ended up falling like in the pitch black, full on, hit my head right on the ground, like really hard, hard to the point where I was unconscious. My wife, the next thing I knew, my wife is waking me up as I'm unconscious on the floor, and I was in severe pain. I'm sure I cracked my skull. But anyway, I still had 10 days left in the Dominican, and basically I just laid on the beach. I couldn't read, I couldn't do crosswords. I really had trouble concentrating. I wanted to sleep all the time. My wife kept waking me up, being the nurse she is, to make sure that I didn't have any serious brain damage. I know I did have some brain damage. There's no question that I was off for at least 3 weeks. I had severe tenderness, a whole area of my right side of the top of my skull, super tender for weeks and weeks. And geez, it was terrible. It was the worst concussion I've ever had, and it really set me back. So I got through that though. Eventually it got better, and now I can actually touch the area, and you can't even find where it was. The body is amazing the way the body heals. So I'm going to talk again about the future of this podcast because it's been 6 months since I spoke to you, and I wonder, like, what am I going to do? Am I going to do 4 more, like every 6 months, and then until I'm 70? I don't know, maybe. But until I kind of figure that out, I just appreciate you. I love you. I appreciate that you've listened to this point. I appreciate that you tuned into this episode, and I'm carrying on. Life has been difficult. when is it not? We're in the time of madness right now, and we're in a time of war. Things are starting to get really ugly in the Middle East, and really nobody knows where that's going to go. So, stay positive, stay healthy. Um, don't watch the news. try to stay away from the news if you can. That's always my advice to people. You can get information other than on the mainstream media news reports. So anyway, that's where I'm at. It's been uh, it's been really something. It's been really something. I'm glad I started this podcast. It gives me a chance to speak my mind about things. It gives me a chance to explore topics that I normally wouldn't explore or talk about. And, it gives me an outlet. And because I don't go to AA meetings anymore, sometimes you need to talk about things like my issue with the anniversary this year, the fifth anniversary being such a letdown for me. And I need to work through that and find out why that was and make sure that that doesn't lead me to a relapse. So so one last thing I just want to talk about was my whole career. My whole career, I had an office, but right now I'm recording this on a kitchen table. So my office is gone. My office is gone. I used to have two offices at one time. They're both gone. I'm basically working from home now, and it's been really difficult to not have a place to call your own after 40 years of having a spot just like that, that was yours and yours alone, that you could lock the door behind you and open it up and everything would be exactly where it was when you left. And like Storage Closet Studios way back when I started the podcast, it was wonderful. And now I'm at a kitchen table. So things change. I'm trying to be adaptable. I'm trying to understand it all. But like I said, if you've listened to the end, you know I love you and appreciate you. And we'll talk to you again. Take care.